Welcome to the AJ Sports Show. Today I'll talk about NFL's Week 2, how all the games went, and the good old-fashioned chaos of the NFL season. Let's kick things off. Let's start with the first day niner, Minnesota at Philadelphia. This game was rather slow at the end. Well, not the end, start. Philly takes a 13-7 lead at halftime. A lot of punts, intercepts. Basically just good old defensive football. But then, as the game goes along, Philly really starts running the football. And it really was old-fashioned grind football. Like, there was like one drive where all they really did was just run the football with DeAndre Swift. And the Vikings, it's the problem that I kind of felt like was going to happen all season. You have these great skill position players, but you got no defense and no line. You got no linemen. So Kirk Cousins, he posts a great game statistically. 364 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Justin Jefferson does Jefferson veins. Hawkinson, Addison being great, but just no line, no defense. The Eagles counter it with 259 rushing yards, 4 yards per carry. And when the Eagles threw the ball, they threw the ball well. Devontae Smith had a killer game. DeAndre Swift. The Vikings defense is so bad that if this was your first time watching DeAndre Swift play, you'll be thinking, this guy is a workhorse back. Like, what the hell? So the Vikings defense has a lot of issues, and it's just not going to be a fun year if you're a Vikings fan. The Eagles, another close win, but a win is a win nonetheless. So don't easily take it. The Colts take on the Texans. The Colts won 31-14. The offense cooked the entire game. The Colts are about to kill Anthony Richardson, though. The Week 1 game against Jacksonville, Richardson kind of gets banged up late in the game. Started this game, 2 rushing touchdowns. He was playing pretty well. On his last touchdown, he got hit pretty hard, knocked the back of his head, gave him a concussion, gone for the game. But Gardner Minshew didn't miss a beat. He played really well. The Colts just kind of spread it out to guys like Pittman, Josh Downs, Zach Moss actually caught some passes in the backfield. Granton scored his first touch. Colts just spread it out. That's just, the Colts don't have a true number 1 wide receiver, so you got to have a good selection of them. Zach Moss ran pretty good. 18 rushes, 88 yards, and a score. He just ran hard all game. Better than Deion Jackson's ass. Deion Jackson Week 1 against Jacksonville. Literally, 2 fumbles. The 4th down, I think it was the second quarter. It was a 4th down where he didn't push his quarterback on a quarterback sneak. Deion Jackson was just horrible. He didn't even see the field. He was dog trash. And the Texans, you are dog trash. Your offensive line, garbage. Banged up by injuries. C.J. Stroud had a pretty killer game considering the bad offensive line. Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Tank Dell. They played really well, but the Colts secondary is awful. The Colts defensive line is great. The Colts sacked Stroud 6 times, but the secondary is just horrible. Yeah, so the Colts got a solid win. Both teams are not making the playoffs. Oh, God. Falcons and the Packers. The Packers jumped pretty early in this game. The Packers were up 17-9 at the start of the second quarter. Actually, not the second quarter, the first quarter. I'm losing my setting here. So it's the end of the third quarter. The Packers are up 24-12. Well, the Falcons proceeded to score 13 unanswered points and win the game in the end. And it really kind of started on that 4th and 10, where it was an incomplete pass, and it just didn't go well. It just did not really go well. The Falcons were able to get a field goal late in the game. But Brian Robinson, I'll tell you something. He's a Commanders running back. Bijan Robinson from Texas. He had a killer game. He looks very good. Desmond Ridder, meh. He's meh. He's a very meh running back. Jordan Love played okay, but it's not okay against the Falcons. The Falcons are 2-0. That's kind of wild. The Bills, after embarrassing themselves against the Jets, where Josh Allen self-destructed mode, didn't self-destruct here. He basically did what he had to do. Just blew out the Raiders. Allen had a killer game. James Cook ran well. Just the Bills just simply put on a click. There's nothing I really need to explain. They won 38-10. The Bengals, rough starts the season so far. The Bengals, their offense just was atrocious against Cleveland. And just this game was close throughout much of the first half. Baltimore got a opening drive touchdown. Bengals did punt twice. And they kicked the field goal late. They actually got the Bengals' first touchdown was a punt return touchdown by Charlie Jones from Purdue. He was very well. He's pretty good at Purdue too. So good punt return touchdown by him. Baltimore did get a field goal late in the first half. The second half, Burrow proceeds to throw a pick, and then Baltimore scores after that. It was 20-10. Cincy would answer, make it 20-17. Burrow throws it to Higgins for a score. Ravens would answer right back on a drive of their own. Jackson throws to Nelson freaking Aguilar of all people. Yes! Nelson Aguilar of all people scored a touchdown. And the Bengals did get a touchdown late, but the Ravens were able to run out the clock and win the game 27-24. The Ravens start 2-0, but they're battered. But, man, it just seems the Ravens just cannot escape the injury bug. You have Humphrey out. J.K. Dobbins torn his Achilles. He's gone for the year. But Jackson, great game for him. And the Ravens are 2-0. The Bengals 0-2. Woof. Yeah, get better, freaking Bengals. Or I'll start calling you the Bungles. Detroit and Seattle. This was another shootout from last year. Geno Smith cooked the defense all game long. So did Jared Goff. The play that really set the tone was that pick six from the Lions. And that basically put Detroit in a hole. They were somehow able to tie it in overtime, 31-31, but that was going to not be enough. Seattle drove down the field and scored a touchdown after that. Very great game by the Lions. The Lions defense just did not really play well. Geno Smith just kind of cooked them all game long. And Seattle's 1-1, Detroit's 1-1. But Detroit's still legit. They beat Kansas City after Kansas City decided to go for it on 4th and 25. That was the most reckless 4th down attempt in a non-playoff game. Straight up stupid. The Chargers, can they win a close game? I mean, what do you do with the Chargers? You're supposed to be very good. You go and fire Joe Lombardi for Kellen fucking Moore. Brandon Staley, I mean, wasn't this guy supposed to be a defensive guru? Well, his defenses have done nothing. You literally lost to Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill has been bad. And Justin Herbert has been good, but come on. You lost again, 27-24. Derrick Henry. I mean, you did pretty well against Derrick Henry, considering all the carries he had. Only 3.2 yards per carry. So you contained him pretty solidly. Tajay Spears had some solid runs, but, I mean, still. I mean, the Chargers just find ways to fuck everything up and lose in heartbreaking fashion. Bears, you suck. Justin Fields, can you read a defense? Can you not hold the ball for 60,000 seconds? You literally let the bake show cook all over your sorry-ass team. The Bears, you just suck. Your lineman sucks. Your wide receivers suck except DJ Moore. Chase Claypool was literal garbage. And Justin Fields, if he's going to succeed, it won't be in Chicago. Because it's almost illegal for the Bears to have good quarterbacks. Your best quarterback, single season-wise, is Sid Luckman. Now, that's your all-time. Your best single season is Eric Kramer. The Bears just don't know how a good quarterback is. I mean, congratulations. You had Jim McMahon. Congratulations. He was basically babied by Walter fucking Payton. I don't want to hear it. Bears, you suck. Your team's absolute trash. You lost to the Buccaneers. Your season's already done. You just suck. Chiefs. After a humiliating Week 1 loss to Detroit, where Kadarius Toney decided to play double agent. They had a very interesting game. They only scored 17 points, but that was enough. The Jags really struggled offensively, especially like in the goal lines. I mean, they took so many field goals. I mean, their first field goal was inside in the red zone. What was their second field goal? That was in the red zone, too. So they just could not score in the red zone. And Trevor Lawrence just played meh. Just didn't really play well. Only completing 22 of his 41 passes. The run game was okay. Not really reliable enough. Just the Jags, I mean, they did beat the Colts in Week 1, but it didn't look way too great doing it. I mean, you're playing the Colts, and also Calvin Ridley just had a great game. So, I mean, both teams just kind of played a little sloppy, but the Chiefs just played a little bit better. 49ers took care of business against the Rams, even though the game was kind of close. Purdy's doing all right. McCaffrey's been great. The 49ers defense is performed all right, but the 49ers are just a great team. The Rams, they tried. Stafford tried. Puka Nacua tried. But the Niners are just a superior team. And they took care of business. Giants and the Cardinals. I mean, what hilarious way to start a season for the Giants. Week 1, they get absolutely humiliated, pants down, stripped down naked at their own stadium, and the Cowboys just spanked their ass literally for 60 straight minutes. 40-0. And against the Cardinals, they were down 20-0. The worst team in the NFL. This team was openly tanking. They fire Kingsbury. They fire Steve Keim's GM. Kyler Murray won't play till second half of the season at best. They're starting Josh freaking Dobbs. Josh Dobbs. Dobbs has done nothing in the NFL. Josh Dobbs was an okay quarterback in Tennessee. All right, congratulations. You had Butch Jones as your team. Let's just shit on Joshua Dobbs real quick. Joshua Dobbs was just an okay quarterback. Shit, his junior season didn't even complete 60% of his pass. Josh Dobbs is just an okay quarterback. But he was dotting up all over your Giants defense, huh? But wait a second, the Giants decided to come out of their ass on a deep bomb to Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt looks very good in the second half. The Giants offense just starts marching down. They scored in every single possession in the second half. Jones was throwing dots. Saquon was running all over the place. Jones had some great runs. Jalen Hyatt had 2 great catches. Darren Waller had some catches. Darius Slay. Just the Giants offense put on a clinic. It was able to close out Arizona. Arizona, you are trash. You lost to a Giants team that is humiliating themselves. Arizona, you are the worst team in the league. Jets had all this hope, right? New York Jets all propped up with Aaron Rodgers. Well, that literally ended on the 4th play, where Rodgers went down with that Achilles tear, and he's gone for the season. Potentially, obviously career-altering, especially of a 39-year-old with that Achilles injury. Achilles injuries is tough to recover. There's just not many players I can name who's recovered from an Achilles injury and play the same way. Like, there's just some players like Robert Mathis, Eric Berry, Dan Marino, just don't really recover with that Achilles injury. But the Jets miraculously beat the Bills. They just got a reality check against the Cowboys. The Cowboys just beat them down. Zach Wilson played awful. What do you expect in Zach Wilson? He's been trash. I never really thought he was going to be good anyways. I didn't understand the hype of BYU when he was playing. I didn't understand. The Cowboys just did what they had to do. I mean, the Jets are done. The Jets can bullshit their way to a playoff, but they're not going anywhere I mean, this team was Aaron Rodgers. And, yeah. Denver Broncos and the Washington Commanders. Good job, Broncos. You scored more than 16 points. That has become like a trend, like a meme. Like, there was a stat where, like, the 16 points, the Broncos would have been, like, 12-5 if they would have, like, scored 16 more points. It's just, there's a trend about it. And Denver's offense jumped on early. They went up 21-3. Wilson was throwing dots. It was just, they were putting on a clinic, but the Commanders answered. They would answer on their their fifth drive of the first half. Got a touchdown, got a 2-point conversion, and ended the half 21-14. And the rest of the game was kind of back and forth. But then late in the fourth quarter, it seemed like Washington was going to pull it away with a Bijan Robinson touchdown. Made it 35-27. But then the crazy shit started to happen. The goddamn Hail Mary. They were at the 50-yard line. It's obvious Hail Mary. Wilson throws it deep, juggled in the air. It just, ball had to land into Brandon Johnson. Literally landed in Brandon Johnson. They got the touchdown, but they could not get the 2-point conversion on a play that could have been pass interference. It could have been. Wasn't called. Didn't get the 2-point conversion. And the Broncos lost a brutal game. The Broncos are 0-2 in the Sean Payton era. 2 very close losses. They lost one to the Raiders 17-16. So the Broncos, get ready to get your aortas punctured, because this is going to be another season of heartbreaks, most likely for the Broncos. But how about the Commanders? The Josh Harris era as owner, starting pretty well. They're 2-0. Dolphins, they start 2-0. They beat New England 24-17. Mac Jones played okay. The Dolphins looked to be in control the entire game. Tua played all right. Raheem Mostert ran all over the Patriots defense. It was just one of those games. It was close, but you just knew the Dolphins were going to win. And that was that. Dolphins won 24-17. Monday Nighters. New Orleans versus Carolina. This game was a slog. Offenses just were stagnant. Picks all over the place. It was just a ugly game. But then the New Orleans, they got the first real drive going early in the second half, where Jones, who literally came off the practice squad, I don't even know his first name, Tony Jones Jr., from the practice squad, didn't really ran the ball that great. But hey, he had 2 rushing touchdowns though, so New Orleans will easily take that. Carolina did get a field goal, but New Orleans scored a touchdown to make it 20-9. And Carolina did get a touchdown, but just couldn't recover the onside kick, and New Orleans ran the clock. The Saints start 2-0, but they didn't really look way too good doing it. They barely beat Tennessee in week 1. Derek Carr's looking meh. Like, he's not bad, but he's not playing that well either. It's just the Saints, they're probably going to win the NFC South by default, but they're really not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. It's just, they're trying to salvage of the roster they have. That's what they're doing. And it's probably going to work this season in terms like just straight up making the playoffs, but going anywhere, not happening. Browns and the Steelers was this interesting. The first offensive play, pick 6, Alex Highsmith. The Steelers' offense was terrible. Like, besides one play by George Pickens, the Steelers' offense was terrible. But the Browns' offense, not much better. And it really only got worse when Nick Chubb went down with that bad knee injury. I mean, his knee bent backwards. That kind of gives you the Willis McGahee Fiesta Bowl vibes when you see that clip. It's pretty bad. but the Browns did score on a Jerome Ford long touchdown. So you're thinking, all right, everything's all good, right? Well, the Browns hang on to the lead until a strip sack from Deshaun Watson, picked up by T.J. Watt, touchdown, Steelers, late in the fourth quarter, and the Browns really couldn't do anything. Deshaun Watson's time right now with the Browns has been bad. He has to turn it around quick, fast, in a hurry. Because this contract that the Browns have gave him is extremely regrettable. Last season when he played, he only completed 58% of his passes of his 6 starts through just 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 5 picks. Right now, only completing 55% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, in a rating of 69.1. So Watson has been awful so far. The Browns, I think you're done. I think your season's over. I mean, your offense ran of Nick Chubb, and Chubb has gone down. So, a very brutal sequence of events of the Cleveland Browns. The Browns and Jets, man, they're cursed, man. Their best players just gets injured. Nothing can go right for either of these franchises. Aaron Rodgers towards his Achilles. Nick Chubb got his knee fucking destroyed. So both teams are cursed, and that'll be it. Which teams, in my opinion, is looking the best? Well, Buffalo, San Fran, Philly, they're probably the best 3 teams right now. Teams that kind of surprises me, Bucks, Falcons, they're both starting 2-0. They are both playing well. Teams that kind of disappointed right now, the Bengals. They're just playing very sloppy. They're not well. They can easily turn around. It's week 2 has just finished, so they can easily turn around, but they have to turn around quick, fast, in a hurry, or it's not going to go well. So that'll be it for this episode of week 2 of the NFL season, and thanks for watching.